Got some good response coming in to John's power surge ahead of the NFL playoffs wildcard weekend. Got a question for Lions fans out there. In recent seasons, the Lions' end of the season has left such a sour taste in people's mouths that they've claimed they wouldn't bother watching the rest of the way. Do you still feel that way? Because I think there's a difference in, man, we were 30 minutes away from the Super Bowl, or we were the 1 seed off a bye dreaming of the Super Bowl, compared to this year where you made peace with it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And if you sat out the NFL playoffs every time the Lions missed, you wouldn't have watched the NFL playoffs for most of your life. And I think these playoffs, John, to the point of the power surge, are wide open, and it should be one of the better playoffs we've had in years. Think about this. No Brady, no Mahomes. Not many years we can say you go into a playoffs, no Brady, no Mahomes, and it feels wide open.
It is. And, I mean, we kind of drew the line at 8, where we think there are 8 teams that could possibly get to the Super Bowl. Legitimate path to the Super Bowl. And I'm going to include 2 Cinderella teams. And I know Tom had talked about I think it was the Jags being kind of that Cinderella team the last 8 games of the season, how much they've outscored their opponents, the way their defense is playing. It feels like they really hit their stride with Trevor Lawrence. And the Chargers, when you have a quarterback like Justin Herbert, I'm not going to rule you out. I don't think I believe with the injuries that they've suffered up front on the offensive line, at some point, if the Chargers are playing against Houston,
right.
Justin Herbert's going to get beat up.
It's a non-negotiable. You're losing up front.
If they're playing against the Broncos, the team that leads the league in sacks, Justin Herbert's going to get beat up. But that's why it would be a Cinderella run for them to be able to get to the Super Bowl. So there's the Jags and the Chargers, who are just below that 8 teams that I think can make it, that would make it a Cinderella run. So now you're talking about 10 teams, some with that are a long shot.
Yeah. Let me just point this out with the Chargers. Justin Herbert's never won a playoff game.
Nope.
They're going to face the Patriots, who are a little overinflated, right? That win total with a softer schedule. Jim Harbaugh's taken a team to a Super Bowl. If they win 1, does the ball start rolling for them? That's part of the Cinderella story. Like, I think Jacksonville relies a lot on turnovers, sort of like Chicago. The difference is I feel like the AFC is more wide open, and a couple turnovers can flip things.
It's like the Jim Harbaugh jar of olives. You turn it over, and you just got to get that one, and then they all come rushing out.
There's always a Harbaughism.
Yes.
There's always.
That's the beauty of doing a radio show with them.
Man,
you hear them all.
Yeah, but it is wide open.
It is.
So I wonder if that's got people invested or interested, or if you're just turned off by the NFL because the Lions are out. Have things changed to where if the Lions aren't in, you're not in? 248-539-9797.
I'm a football addict. I'm going to be watching it no matter what. And I don't even go to, this is my addiction to football, where I think one of the best Super Bowls, it didn't have a lot of fireworks, but it was the Rams and Patriots. It was an unbelievable chess match. And I love watching that one because I love watching all the chess pieces and I'm seeing all the defensive adjustments. But a lot of people look at that and go, well, it just wasn't very exciting. So I don't, they're not going to rank that in their top Super Bowls. When you talk about some of these teams that are, you mentioned Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh's been to a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Justin Herbert hasn't won a playoff game. Kyle Shanahan has been to a Super Bowl. And he's done it with Robert Saleh as his defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. Does anybody think that the 49ers are a Super Bowl caliber team? No, but they could get there. The Eagles, we don't think that they're a Super Bowl caliber team, but they're the defending Super Bowl champs. Nick Sirianni's been there a couple times.
And look, have they been playing possum? They're great on the lines of scrimmage. They're going to be home in the first game.
Sean Payton with the Broncos. Like, do you really going to bet on Bo Nix, even though they're the number 1 seed, that they're going to make it to the Super Bowl?
Or the Seahawks with Sam Darnold on the other side. And I think the Seattle Seahawks are perfectly captured by the last game they played. It was a win on the road against a playoff team. These are good things. They ran the ball. They played defense. At the same time, Sam Darnold didn't throw a touchdown. Mm-hmm. He had a big miss on a 4th down in the red zone. He had a fumble. that they bailed out with a Kenneth Walker 19-yard run on 3rd and 17. Can they win a game? Yeah, sure. Can they win and stack multiple games is going to be TBD.
But that's why it's exciting.
I agree with you. I have the same read you do. I'm excited to see how this thing gets sorted out. John, you mentioned that you enjoyed that Patriots-Rams Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What is your ideal Super Bowl matchup? What would be the most riveting, entertaining, if you were writing the script, John?
Oh, if I was one of the NFL script writers? Wow.
You got to put the Bills in, right?
I mean, I think that would be offensively one of the more entertaining teams to get into the Super Bowl.
Tortured fan base. Allen finally makes it.
If that's your AFC team, I think I would put the Seahawks in as my NFC team because of the defense that they play. And how does Josh Allen and how does that staff put together a game plan to attack the number one scoring defense in the NFL? And then we would have that answer. And I'm not a huge Sam Darnold fan. I do like the story of the struggles that he had for 7 years before he ends up in Minnesota. They win 14 games. And obviously, hey, we know what happened at the end of the season last year against Detroit. We know what happened in the first round of the playoffs. But for him to, have that full comeback moment of getting to the Super Bowl with two different teams, not that he's in the Super Bowl last year, but a 14-win team last year, a 14-win team this year, and ultimately taking a new team to a Super Bowl, I think it would be a great story. And he seems like a decent dude.
I think to me it would be Rams-Bills. Would be a great Super Bowl matchup.
Yeah.
No?
I just don't want to see Sean McVay in another Super Bowl.
I know how you feel about McVay.
And it has nothing to do with Matthew Stafford. If he gets there, hey, fine, win one. I don't care. I'm just not a McVay fan.
So I'm looking back. You guys make fun of me because I took Clemson to win the national title in college football, and they were nowhere near the college football playoff. I got my NFL picks. I had the Bills beating the Eagles in the Super Bowl. That can still happen.
It can, yes.
That would be a hell of a Super Bowl, too.
Yeah, but it's not one I want to see. Okay. In fact, I would.
You don't want the Eagles.
We're talking about a redo, not that that's a redo, but I would love to see Buffalo and San Francisco in the Super Bowl.
So Buffalo and Josh Allen. Josh Allen has 7 playoff wins. Who do you think is the next closest? Or how about this? The other 6 AFC QBs in the playoffs. How many wins total do you think they have with their current team? So that eliminates Rodgers' Green Bay record.
So Rodgers doesn't have any playoff wins with the Steelers.
Right.
Herbert doesn't have any. Nix doesn't have any.
Trevor Lawrence
doesn't. Lawrence
he win one?
He beat Herbert. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's 1. Does Stroud have 1?
Stroud has 2.
2.
Bo
He's
Nix
won
doesn't
wild
have
cards
any.
the last 2 years.
So does the AFC field have 3 total, and Allen has 7?
Correct.
With their current team.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be his year. It's got to be their year. And they are the more interesting Super Bowl matchup, whoever they face from the NFC.
Can they do it?
Oh, man. 248-539-9797. We're going to play coordinator carousel for the Lions at 9:35. John's got a great quarterback conundrum next, 97.1.